Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you guys so much for joining. I've been looking so forward to this interview with Gosia. How are you doing today, Gosia?
Hello, Shane. How are you? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me. Hello, everybody.
Well, I know you don't normally do live streams, so I want to thank you for sort of coming out of the box and doing this with me because one of my viewers had left me the information for your channel in the description. So I want to thank that viewer. I'm sorry I can't remember the name of the person right offhand. I meant to look it up and I totally forgot. But thank you because they said this information must get out. Please go check out this channel. And so much of the information I get comes from my viewers like that. So I went over there and I binged watched all of your videos because I could not stop. The information resonated with me so very much.
Okay.
Some of the knowings that I had were confirmed by watching these videos. I didn't know how I knew it, but I just whether it's the Matrix or the NPCs, we call them, not real people. We call them NPCs, which is non-player characters.
Mm-hmm.
So that's typically what people know of the not real people. But all of that stuff, was confirmed over there. And, we've really only scratched the surface, right, of the information you've gotten.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Well, thank you very much, the anonymous viewer who recommended the material to you, Shane. Thank you very much. Yes, it's true. I have never really done a live show. So I apologize right away for any mistakes or from confusions. And, English also is not my language. So, when I edit the videos, I usually make mistakes. I correct myself. I retape myself so it comes out clean. But, in a live show, you can't do any of this. So I apologize right away if I don't sound right at some point.
Oh, you speak very well, so that's no
Well,
problem.
thank you. Yes, thank you so much. I'm an English teacher, actually, so I'd better speak good English.
So you have
Thank you
a
so much.
bunch, you have a bunch of information in Spanish already. So I want to encourage my bilingual or Spanish-speaking audience that you can actually go over and get more information from your Spanish channel. Your English one is Cosmic Agency. Your
That's right.
Spanish one is Agencia Cosmica. Is that
Agencia Cósmica.
okay?
Agencia Cósmica in Spanish, yes.
Okay, awesome. And then also Robert that you work closely with has a YouTube channel with a bunch more information in Spanish, and I do have all these links below. So
Yes.
okay, so with all that out of the way, let's get into the actual information because I think it's so cool. I mean, so many times and I didn't know this right away, but I thought this was really cool because of the how much the information resonated with me. But a lot of the information that comes through is channeled. So I just assumed this was all channeled at first. So when I found out it came through our technology in text
Hmm.
form and you were communicating through chat, luckily I had already checked out the information. So I wasn't as leery about it as someone that's sort of going into it. They might think, I don't know, I'm suspicious, but I want to tell anybody to, reserve your hesitations until you actually look at the information because the information resonated with me so much and I've shared it with other people and I haven't had anyone that it didn't resonate with thus far. So I want to encourage you
Excellent.
guys and I like it because channeling, you can the information can go through the filter of the mind and get changed a little bit because
Hmm.
people have their idea of what the world is like and then they sort of change the information, not on purpose, but it just comes through the mind. So you've got like raw information, unfiltered,
Yeah, exactly.
unbiased by the mind. So I love that.
Yes. Thank you so much, Shane. And I know that the show is not very long. You told me it's about an hour or so. So I will get into the information very fast. Yes, I will explain the channeling, non-channeling, and I will get into the information.
Okay.
But if you just permit me for just 1 minute, I would like to introduce Robert to your audience
Sure.
because Robert, come here. Because Robert, yes, he has a Spanish channel. He doesn't speak English, so it's just in Spanish. But the information that we bring forward is on both channels. This is
Hello, Robert.
Hello, Shane. Hello, everybody.
Yes, okay. His channel is Despejando Enigmas. And slowly I'll be putting out his information too with subtitles, which is important because some of the information which I have it doesn't appear on his channel and vice versa. So it's like the English world only receives the half. So slowly I'll be adding his videos too, where he talks about, for example, vaccinations. I don't talk about vaccinations in my channel, but he does. And he talks a lot about artificial intelligence and the dangers of artificial intelligence and etc. So I will add his information slowly too. And if you already speak Spanish, please check out his channel as well, okay? Because we are like a package here in this process. So that's why I wanted to introduce you to Robert.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Robert. Gracias. So
okay,
yes,
and his channel name is below, and can you pronounce it again?
Yes, Despejando Enigmas,
okay.
Which means in English like clearing away of mysteries.
Ah, I like that. And that link is below, by the way, you guys. It's under the in Spanish information section. I included her Spanish channel version of the information, which there's a lot more because it hasn't all been translated over to English yet. So if you're going to be like me and probably watch it all and be hungry for more and you can speak Spanish, out of all the Spanish classes I've taken, I wish I could go over there and continue watching it because I know how much work she's putting into this. And I want to thank you so much, Gosia, for putting so much work into this and having to do everything twice and getting it out to the English audience. And I felt really compelled to get this out to my English-speaking audience to check out this information because it's just mind-blowing.
It is, and thank you so much to you, really. You are the first channel that I'm speaking with. So having said all this, I don't want your audience to wait anymore for the actual information.
Okay.
By the way, this is just an hour show, so I have some notes. I want to make a summary of some of the most important things.
Okay.
Okay. But there's so much more in the channels. Okay. I'm very glad you mentioned the fact that this is not channeled information and that you appreciate this. Mm-hmm. Yes, I do too. There is authentic channel information. There's nothing wrong with that. And they, by the way, who are they? Taygetan Pleiadians, with whom we are speaking with, they have channeled as well. However, until recently, they decided that the channeling method is not as productive anymore because it is prone to misinterpretations and it gets filtered through the human mind, so it's not exact and accurate information. There are space laws, okay, in the universe. And one of those space laws is called Prime Directive. Yes, mm-hmm. It's the same as in Star Trek. Yes, but it is actually the Star Trek was based on a real Prime Directive. So one of the laws of the Prime Directive states that the members of the Federation cannot communicate with the evolving race through the methods or channels that are not native to a given planet, which means before they didn't have the technology, so they were relying a lot on channeling, which there's nothing wrong with that. But as soon as we developed enough technology, for example, internet, they have stepped up their methods of communication. And by the way, they communicate through different ways. The method is adapted to each person. So some people will still channel other races. However, this specific Pleiadian race, which is a Taygeta Pleiadian race, because there are a lot of Pleiadian races, mm-hmm. They don't channel anymore. They since 2008, how I understand it, they have been contacting hundreds and thousands of people using our native technology already available to us, which is internet. Why not? It makes perfect sense. So many people trust the channeling, but yeah, when you say it's through the internet, there is still like the hesitation. So I'm very grateful that you said, please hold off your hesitations until you hear the information. It's very important. If any of you are still doubtful of the veracity of this information, just wait until I explain, what this is about. So yes, so that's out of the way. It's through the internet. Now, the race, well, it's actually one specific girl that we have been talking with mainly, and she's called Zvaru. Zvaru. She's from Erra. Mostly they are from the planet Erra and Temer, which are revolving around the sun Taygeta. That's where the name Taygetans come from, because it's the sun, Taygeta, in the star system Pleiades. That is, I have my note, that is 422 light years away. And they have been here in the orbit of the Earth in a bigger force, because they have been around for thousands of years, coming and going. But in the bigger force, they have been here since 2008, and before that, since 1952. When I say here, what do I mean here? On Earth? No, I mean in the orbit of the Earth. They've been stationed in the orbit of the Earth and doing all kinds of operations. So they are from the fifth density, okay? They call it density, not a dimension. And I also have the video about densities explaining why they call it density. So I'm not going to go into that right now, but they call it density. They explain that everything outside of Earth is actually in the fifth density. It's a natural state of the physical universe. We here on Earth, we are kept artificially in the super dense 3D density. But the normal physical universe is a 5D density. Van Allen belts are the limit. If you heard of Van Allen belts, yes, this is true. They mark the limit. Beyond that, everything is in the fifth density. I'm still like programmed to say dimension. Now, why are they here in general? They are not the only race, by the way, that is here. There are thousands of races. There are many races watching. There are many races helping and aiding with the liberation of the planet Earth, because there is a fight for the planet Earth and for the perception of the human consciousness that I will get into later. It's very important. So they are here to aid with the liberation. Many ships are here as a command and control. They enforce the blockade. Now, what is this blockade? The blockade is they are stopping the negative ships and negative races from entering and leaving the Earth, reinforcing the negative cabal that is already on Earth. They are also stopping exporting humans for meat. I mean, this is true. Also, I'm not going to go into this now. I want this to focus more on the spiritual message, which is more important. There are also science ships. There are scientists. They are here to study the ascension process. Many races are here to study the ascension. They are very interested in this process because the whole galaxy actually is ascending. The whole quadrant of this galaxy is ascending, not just the planet Earth. So they are here to study this. They are very interested. And there are also ships and who are involved in placing star seeds on Earth. Not just Pleiadians, there are many star seeds coming from different races. Very important. They are biological beings. They are people, okay? If you look at them, we haven't seen them physically. But if you look at them, they are just like normal, ordinary people, maybe a little bit more beautiful, like they are supposed to be attractive, because actually they have the power to design their own body. They basically design themselves. They are just like us because they come from the same branch as we do. Like we come from the Lyrian branch, and so do they. By the way, is it Lyrian or Lyrian? How do you say that in English?
I hear it both ways. It depends on who you talk, but you'll be understood either way. So
okay. So we both come from the Illyrian race. That's why they are humanoid. They look like us. They are actually, this is one of their biggest problems approaching humans. They are so afraid that, if they once they disclose themselves, they will not be believed because they are so similar to us. Actually, one of them said to us once that the extraterrestrial that is most difficult to believe is the one that looks like you in the mirror. Because we're all expecting, these weird creatures and grays and I don't know, elephant heads, which, by the way, also exist. But the Taygetan Pleiadians are among the ones who are assigned to contact us first, because this is like the first step of the contact, of the official disclosure. So it makes sense. Most of their society is women, is feminine. By the way, it doesn't mean there are no men. There are men and they play an important role, but it's a matriarchal society. There are other Pleiadians and other races who are more patriarchal, but they specifically are matriarchal. And just a fact, curious fact. Now,
to chime in right there,
yeah.
I just wanted to say that a lot of times people have the idea that these beings are like perfect or godlike or they're not like us, but in many ways they're on their own ascension process as well, trying to move from the fifth density and above, just like we're trying to move from third to fifth. So it's not like once we get there, you won't experience any pain. It'll just be different, or any sickness or anything like that. It's not like they're at reaching God status. And that was, I think, something that people had a problem with, because they think, oh, we're going to ascend, we're going to be perfect, there's not going to be any more problems. And it's really not that way. I mean, there's still duality, is there not?
Exactly. Shane, are you reading my notes? Or is your telepathic powers are so on? This was actually on my notes. This was my next point. You're amazing. Yeah. So I actually had my next point, not angels or gods. They are biological beings. They are so stressing the point that we cannot see them as gods or deities or angels. These times are over. And if they sense that we are still with this adoration towards them, they will not approach us. They will see we are not ready. Okay, this is the time to open ourselves to these galactic communities on an equal level. Okay, not on our knees anymore. So this is very important. They are not perfect. You're right. They are not perfect. They commit mistakes. They get sick, which was actually something that we got into trouble in, because in our Spanish videos, we revealed that Svaru at what point got a little sick. So many people who are skeptical, no, the extraterrestrials don't get sick. So how do we know that? How do you know this? On what base, or what are you basing this information that they don't get sick? We have these fantasies of the extraterrestrials. Many of them projected through the Hollywood or from campaigns of all sorts. They do have problems. They are not perfect, but they are closer to the source, and they know how the higher matrix. I'll get into that. Higher matrix operates. They know more about their reality. So they can share what they know, and this is what this is about. It's like our brothers and sisters who have passed through, some grades. So that's it. Anything else maybe you would like to mention at this point? Because I want to go into the 3D matrix.
Okay, no, perfect. I was wanting to go into the 3D matrix too, and just so people know what you were saying earlier, about the barrier, the Van Allen belts. We all know about this, and I like the fact that the information goes into whether or not we went to the moon, and it gets into some of the information from Corey Good, and it reveals. I'm so glad you asked the perfect question. So that's one of the reasons why I want people to go and check all this out. There's no way we can cram all of these hours of information in here.
Impossible.
So yeah, you really get into the Van Allen belts and that barrier and all of that in the information. So you did touch on it here a little bit, but I want you guys to know that there's much more information that she goes into on the channel, so you can go check that out for yourself. And off to the 3D matrix. I love this part of it.
Okay, all this is very interesting, exciting for me to share with your audience, and so just so happy. And it is very important, very important. And we all know we are in the matrix, right? We all have one idea or the other about what the matrix is. But what I actually didn't know once I started talking with Varu was a different layer to the matrix. And I'll explain the 3D matrix. I didn't know actually that the 3D matrix is something very technological. Okay. Okay. How do I start this? 12,500 years ago, there were a lot of wars in the universe. Okay, Orion wars, with the draconians and reptilians invading and fighting, wars all over the place. So, long story short, very long story, very short, was that on Earth at that point, there were humans, Lyrians, and also reptilians. Reptilians were escaping from the Federation. Okay? Federation was chasing after reptilians. So reptilians hid. They were on Earth at that time. Federation was very weak after all these wars. The planets Mars and Tiamat were destroyed as a result of these wars. The whole planets. Well, the Tiamat was destroyed, but there were some problems on Mars too. So, as I said, reptilians hid on Earth. Federation went after them, okay, on Earth, but they were too weak, to just, they didn't have power anymore to fight. So what they did, and Sbaru actually admits that this was a sort of a mistake, probably. They immersed the Earth in a 3D superimposed, computerized 3D hologram to maintain the reptilians physically and the souls, reptilian souls, from escaping. This was supposed to be a temporary solution. Okay, they were supposed to come back and fix this, but it's taking them 12,500 years to deal with the situation. Basically, it's a very advanced, maybe for us, for them not so advanced anymore, technology that is installed on the moon. It's some kind of device that suppresses the frequency on the Earth. It's from the Lunar Space Station. It's created with thought-to-computer interface. Okay, it's like a caricature, basically, of the 5D reality. The 5D reality was there, and they just suppressed the frequencies on Earth, and they locked in the Earth within the 3D reality, virtual reality. It's like a test run of the full program. The full program will be the 5D. Here I have a note that Sbaru said once, we also have physicality, but fully loaded, not with limited features. So here we have, due to these limitations and this 3D suppression, we are very limited. We'll see later that we are not really, that it's a part of the program. So these computers are literal digital computers. They use a primitive binary system. I'm reading now. They are controlled by very old and dangerous nuclear reactors based on uranium. I'm reading because this kind of information, the scientific stuff, I cannot remember this ever. I don't have a scientific mind. It's like people on the Spanish world sometimes say, this information comes from me. I invented this. I actually created this whole scheme.
That would be pretty impressive if you could do that.
I couldn't even remember this sentence. It's too scientific for me. They are controlled by very old and dangerous nuclear reactors based on uranium. So what it is, the moon transmits a frequency that suppresses our capacity to see certain frequency. And to suppress it, you transmit another frequency that matches it, but at the opposite, and it's called destructive interference. Okay, so from the moon, they are transmitting this destructive interference frequency that is suppressing our ability to perceive the reality as it is. Not just that, but it's actually an electromagnetic energy, also a force field beyond which you cannot go through. So this is how they trapped the reptilians and the remaining humans on Earth at that time. As she says here, this technology is not just light. When powerful enough, they are great electromagnetic energy, a force field that can keep you inside. No one can go through that wall without technology that can control frequencies. Also, a soul, if your vibration isn't high enough, cannot go through that either. That's why another reason why negative ones don't want us to evolve, because they will lose they're slaves. If we wake up and we raise our vibration and we can escape. This goes into the karma and reincarnation and all that. That's like another trap, another Pandora box that I'm not going to get to right now. Okay, so this is what was new to me, because I already knew about the matrix and all the false reality programming. But what was new to me, that actually what they transmit from the moon, not just that they are suppressing our perception, but they are actually superimposing things onto our reality. They are kind of like holographic insertions. They could be images, okay, or they could be even events, because they do it through manipulating frequencies on their computers. And not only objects are frequencies, events are frequencies also. So they can actually even insert events. It's like insane to me when I was reading this with her. I asked her because I was worried, okay, is nature also the insertion, or is it real? Because I feel great when I go into nature. Nature is mostly 5D. So to connect with the 5D reality, go into nature as much as possible, because ancient sites are also closer to the 5D. This is like out there information, but there are even whole artificial cities inserted.
Right. So to put this into perspective, it's like 5D Earth is here, but we're getting this projection that's sort of like, people say lift the veil or remove the veil. There's a veil that's been placed over the Earth, over 5D Earth. So 5D Earth is technically here already. And we've got like holograms, because we've covered this in the Wingmakers material, the hologram of deception. It's like we have these holograms placed on top of 5D Earth that not only hide 5D Earth, but places buildings and things like that. And one of the things I thought was interesting in one of your talks is that sometimes places that are haunted or stuff like this is a weakening in the matrix, right? In those areas. And you're getting a little bit of 5D coming through. And then we look at it as paranormal. See, that's one of the things that like totally made sense. And that's why you see like ancient sites, because those ancient sites are really 5D. So it's not a 3D construct, and we get more of these paranormal experiences in these locations. So like nature, mountains. And that's one of the things, I don't know if you know about this, but there's now Rainbow Mountains that's come out. And I think those are 5D mountains because people consider it a Mandela effect. They're like, I've never heard of Rainbow Mountains. So I think that's 5D coming through. So it's all making sense now with this information. You can look that up later, the Rainbow Mountains, because it's just crazy when you look, and they're all these colorful mountains, and like I've never heard of them before, but apparently they look like they've always been here. But I know they have.
Really? Yeah. Where? What country?
It started in China, and then somewhere like in South America, more popped up, and they're like all over the place. So it's really crazy. Yeah.
In China, I think I've seen them. It's one of my places where I want to go, actually. They're colorful. Yeah.
Yeah. When I first heard about it, that was the only location. And then and now they're coming up in other places. I think there's like 4 different places you can see them now. So that's just one of the things.
Okay. Very cool. Yes. Yeah, you are very right. Svaru called it matrix glitches. When people glitches. And also people waking up, when they are starting to see this paranormal activities, they're actually like 4D, because we are very close to the 4D. Mm-hmm. Everything is ascending. And actually they are, the Taget and Pleiadians, they are in control now of the matrix lunar computer. So they are actually slowly adjusting the frequency. They cannot do it right away, because this was my first question. Why don't you just shut it off? Shut the damn thing off and let us break free. But it can be done. It has to be, the steps have to be taken because it's going to be too drastic. We will see things that we haven't seen before. Other things will disappear, so it will be just too strange.
Yeah.
So
And a bunch of different beings and creatures would just
yeah,
suddenly appear and freak everybody out. So, yeah, it's
yes,
got to be slowly done. So, yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So okay, what do I have here? Uh, this whole 3D matrix technological aspect of it is very interesting. She even shared with us that, for example, they can see the Earth from up there, from those computers. By the way, I say computers and she says computers because that's the human equivalent. They use the human equivalent sometimes,
Hmm.
but we don't have equivalents for what they have sometimes. So from their computers, they can see Earth as a map of frequencies. Okay, and it's interesting because sometimes they can even adjust certain frequency of the area so it doesn't become a match with negative event. They don't like to do that very much because they don't like to impose. You see, they cannot interfere with the evolution of the events. But sometimes they have done that. They have done that many times. They actually prevented the third world war many times. And why many times? Because the negative ones keep insisting on having it, so many times it has been prevented. And how they do it is for the negative event to take place, it has to be a match of frequencies. Like everything is a match, everything is consciousness. So if something, I know it sounds maybe cold, but if something negative happens, there has been a match on some certain level, between you, your consciousness, and that event. So what they do with that technological 3D matrix technology, they adjust the frequency of the play sometimes, so it's not a match to the negative event anymore. But they don't like to do that anymore, as I said. And also, the matrix system, that technological aspect, it's very old. It's failing, she's saying. Here, I have the information. The system is failing. It initially consisted of 12 nuclear reactors, uranium, but 8 of them are disabled now. Now only 4 remain online. Many glitches happen. So I don't know if you've seen the video. A few months ago, there came out a video. An astronomer, took a video of the moon with like a wave going around the moon. There was like a strange holographic wave that was coming. Have you seen that?
Yes, I've actually seen a newer video that showed the same thing, and you can tell it's not the camera because when they zoomed out, the wave got smaller, so it wasn't a camera artifact. So you can definitely tell that it's something going on with the moon. And to
Yes.
add to what you were saying, you can, when you really see how the cabal will try to implant fear through the media and movies and things like that, you can see why they want to cause us to be a frequency match for negative events to happen. So we see this predictive programming where they have you worried a missile launch is going to happen or a terrorist attack is going to happen somewhere. And the more they can get the people to fear these things and to worry about these things, the more it becomes more of a frequency match to actually bring it about. So they don't want us to know we have the power to rise above that fear and prevent these things from happening just by not giving our consent to these things and not getting sucked into the fear. So
Exactly.
it all makes sense. I mean, that's why I want people to go check out this information because it's like, oh, I had all of these aha moments. So sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to add that in there because it's
No, this is
totally
amazing.
ties
This
in.
is actually exactly what I'm going to go into in the second part, because the 3D technological aspect of it is kind of it's interesting. It's interesting, but like okay. But now actually the second part is where I want to talk about where we step in. What is our role in all this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it's our role is crucial and so important, and that's why I'm here to talk about this. Even though I don't like to come out and speak, but I feel it's for the cause. It's so important. So now let me explain why it's important. But it ties in so well with what you just said. So congratulations. This is really
Thanks.
good. um, uh, okay, so 3D matrix from the moon. Okay, now that's one thing. They have us in this 3D artificial setup here, suppression of frequencies. Now, so what happened then? When the reptilians were trapped here with the remaining humans, um, they basically um, hacked it. hacked the matrix. Okay, this is Svaru words. Okay, the 3D matrix from the moon, it's connected to and it's using the original 5D matrix system of operation through the law of attraction. It's connected. Okay, the original matrix, 5D matrix, is another layer of the matrix, but it's a natural matrix. We are here like in a matrix inside another matrix. We are in a 3D suppression from the moon. And beyond that, we are in an original matrix, which is just a 5D physical existence. Why do I say it's natural matrix? Because it's, according to Svaru, it's simply a physical material universe according to the set of rules that we as souls from another side have agreed upon. Okay, so for example, if I explain this in my video, if I see a phone, she in the 5D will also see a phone, even though it's just a potential energy, right, floating around. But our souls, both from the another side, have both agreed on seeing, on interpreting this lump of energy as a phone. This is original matrix. It's a natural way of interpreting the reality. It's not imposed. It's imposed, but by ourselves. It's the expression of our own consciousness intent from another side. But here we are in a false imposed matrix where we are expressing the intentions that are not ours. Okay, so when the reptilians were trapped, they decided to use the original matrix law of attraction, manifestation, power of our consciousness in their favor. So they basically hijacked, okay, our perception. They basically set up this evil scheme to create a false reality around us to believe in. And this from everything, religion, politics, science, medicine, technology, everything, it's false, okay? Because they have designed it in a specific way, so we believe in a certain things that favor them, not us. They are not the reflection of our true selves. So why did they do that? Because the 3D matrix and the higher 5D matrix, because they are connected, how do they work? The matrix computers will read our thoughts, intentions, emotions, and will manifest matching frequencies to our reality. It's programmed this way. This is how the 3D matrix, it's programmed. So to control what the people believe, here I have them written. So control what the people believe in, and you control what the matrix is manifesting as a collective reality. They didn't have another way, they didn't have another option because they didn't have access to the computers to the moon. So they had to manipulate our beliefs, our consciousness, our perception, because they knew that whatever we insert into the matrix with our mind, this is what the matrix will read and will reflect back to us, because it's like a kind of like a mutual interaction with the matrix. Whatever we put in, insert into the matrix with our frequency and perceptions and emotions and thoughts and intentions, it will read, and it will readjust, and it will give us back that same reality. It's like a vicious circle. So
you can really see how they don't want us to know that either. And one of the things that Svaru says that really resonated with me is that really the only limitation we have is the belief that we have a limitation. So we can create and do anything, but we just don't believe that we can. And that's really the only thing stopping us. You know, that's powerful. That's powerful information.
That's the next thing on my list. I'm getting into that all that. It's amazing. It's like, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's like you read my notes. I mean, because you've seen the video, so it shows that no, it's good.
Several times, because like while I'm waiting for more, I'm like, I'm going to watch that one again and again. And so I've watched some of them 3 or 4 times, to be honest with you.
So yes, what you said is perfectly right. They used workings of the original matrix, okay, which is basically law of attraction, manifestation of the consciousness, and they made people believe they were limited, including, for example, aging. aging. They believed that people were inferior, they couldn't heal themselves, whatever. Mind manipulation. They hacked the system using mind manipulation, mental control. And it's very important to stress the point that it was not done genetically, because many people say that we have been interfered with genetically. It's not actually true. Yes, there have been some alterations here and there, and actually they happen all over the universe. Varu said it's something very normal. It happens. Every race does that. But the way that the reptilians did that to the Illyrians who were on Earth, they did that through the mental manipulation. And why? Because the Illyrians, their connection to the source was too strong. You cannot manipulate the source, because we are source physically. Physically, it's like, okay, we are here on Earth as a shadow, okay, of our true self. So you cannot change the person by manipulating its shadow, okay? Genetically, they failed. They tried, but they failed to make us inferior genetically. So they started using mental control, and they started to use us to generate and to maintain the matrix in their favor, because of our creative power to maintain and generate the matrix. So now there is a war basically for the perception of the real people. Now, real people, another topic, because there are actually non-real people also projected from the moon. Yeah, another topic. So there is a war for the perception of the real people, because, as I said, it's perception that creates and maintains the matrix. We have the power to reprogram it, but we don't know that we do, because we have been led to believe we're inferior and we don't have any power. So there are, as I said before, there are space laws to prevent them from interfering directly, even though they have been doing a lot of things. They are doing a lot of things. They're kind of going around those laws however they can. But one of the programs of helping to reprogram the matrix from within was to place star seeds inside, okay? Because this is how you transform the matrix. The matrix actually transforms when our perception transforms, okay? When we liberate and when we become aware of our true essence, we actually adjust the frequency of the lunar matrix system. It's crazy. It's connected. So the Starseed program was the plan to beat the manipulators at their own game. Okay, so if the reptilians were manipulating us using our perception, hey, we're going to place star seeds and we're going to use that star seeds perception to access the matrix and reprogram the matrix and lift the whole game and liberate people. Because so this is one of the reasons why the star seeds were placed, because star seed perception naturally is something, sometimes you don't even have to do anything. It's just the way you perceive things. Everything's about perception. It's how you perceive things. This is what changes the matrix and adjusts and raises the frequency of the matrix. So
and I think one of the things with that is thinking of ourselves as like we're like hackers to the matrix. We don't realize it, but just with our own, we're hacking it with our consciousness. Yes. So just being here and looking at things more positively. And, I know you're going to go into the not real people thing, but for anybody that's been with my channel for a while, I've talked about it before in the past, and I'll like touch on it every now and then. But I think there's like a sort of a danger involved with people treating people badly or whatever. And so I don't really go into that area too much, because I think everyone should be treated the same. And when you do go into that, anyone that's been with me for a while and has heard me speak on this will see the parallels with what I've got. Like, it's just important to know because of, just to understand how things are working, but not to treat anyone any differently. So I'll, even talk to them as like they're secret shoppers. They're here to sort of, trigger us or to see what we need to work on as individuals. But yeah, so when we go into that, that's going to be awesome because it ties into this whole thing, and they're really ran by the Matrix,
Yeah, exactly.
that you've been talking about here.
Yeah, yeah, I will mention those points too. I have them again on my list. The respect for everybody.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm trying to get through my points here. Okay. So yes, Zvaru told us that it's not even necessary to awaken everybody in the process. She mentioned it's important to awaken key core of the real people.
Mm-hmm.
And she used those, and she said this. This was like for me strong. The rest will follow because they are not even real people, but manifestations within the mind of the few real people on earth. Okay, because the real people are the ones who are actually manifesting and maintaining the matrix. That's why it's so important for the negative ones to keep us as slaves to what they believe the reality is, and to keep our frequency trapped. Okay, because we are the ones manifesting everything. So I asked, so that's why since 2008, the Taygete and Pleiadians have been on a massive campaign, actually, to talk to many people. By the way, we are not the only ones with whom we talk. Okay, they have been talking with hundreds of people around the earth since 2008, and just not all of them, and most of them don't come out. It's just us two idiots, me and Robert, who decided, okay, we're gonna just share this because it's so amazing to share this. But many people don't come out, and the idea is for the Pleiadians, for the Taygete and Pleiadians, to activate those people, because, as she said, the key core of the real people needs to be awakened, so their perception awakens, and they trigger they trigger something in the massive collective consciousness. She said that. Tipping point in consciousness must be achieved in order to help switch the 3D lunar matrix into the higher frequency, because they are doing it from the outside. But the real job is us from the inside, the perception, because this is how the matrix is maintained, through our perception. So everything is about consciousness and perception. That's why we on the inside is so important. I remember I asked her once, so when I hear this information, Zvaro, is it enough for me just to hear this information? And she responded, as the information resonates with you, it fulfilled. You will be in alignment with your true self and will start to manifest a different reality for yourself and for the rest of humanity, because it is you, the real person, who manifests all Earth's reality. The problem is that the perception of the real people's reality has been hijacked and trapped in a hive mind in all areas of life, religion, science, technology, whatever. And Svaru exposes all that. She exposes all these lies. She not only talks to us, but she also has articles where she just writes articles on very deep, complicated subjects. So before I get to the unreal people, it's very important, like I said, for us here to transcend the oppressors. They are not our saviors. It's not about waiting for them to come and save us, okay? It's not about that. They are doing already a lot, but the work is from within, because this is how the matrix is connected to our consciousness. Okay, we need to get free. We need to first realize that something is wrong with the world, that this is not right, what's happening, and slowly chip away all this false programming and limiting ideas. This is the real work. They can only point, but then it's us who need to do the work. She said once, you change the perception of the real people manifesting the matrix, and you are solving the problem, reprogramming the matrix from within. When the consciousness level is high enough, it will, this is important, when the consciousness level is high enough, it will in itself automatically adjust the matrix to 5D. Important.
That's good stuff.
Liberating the people to the original natural 5D matrix. As the wants of the people manifest what the matrix gives them, it will automatically manifest 5D for them. So as Baru is saying, you need to be 5D. Basically, you need to break through the 3D shell and be the 5D person now. It's time. Be 5D. And I have the video about what does it mean to be a 5D person. Once we step into our 5D being and persona and mind and consciousness, this is how it will adjust the matrix to the 5D. This is our work from the inside. Because, yeah, I have my point here too. Yes, because now whatever we are inserting and programming into the matrix is what we have been led to believe. It's not the reflection of our true self. It's time, like I said, to remove all these false limiting ideas. One of these false ideas is, for example, that genetics rules over consciousness, when it's completely the other way around. The consciousness rules over genetics. We are not slaves to genetics.
That's good stuff. Yeah, and we can actually change our genetics with our consciousness rather than the other way around. So
Yeah.
that's one of those things that, I mean, I just saw this video that was going around. I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of my viewers did, about Greg Braden talking about how, instead of having these moments of the day in meditation where we get in sort of this 5D moment, it's like living every moment of the day in 5D. And that's where the real spiritual transformation will take place, is if we can live in there, maybe only stepping out of it for a few moments at a time to maybe make change or something, I think was the example, but to just live in that moment all the time. And that will rewrite the matrix from the inside.
Exactly.
It's an inside job. Like you hear it all the
Yeah.
time. It's an inside job. And that's what it's talking about. So it's all tied together. I love it.
Yes. Yes, exactly right. And you know why it's also, and by the way, I'm sorry to the viewers and to you if I'm like on the roll and talking. It's because I have a lot of points and I have 1 hour and I would like to mention all these things.
Yeah, and we can go over if we need to. It's not a problem. Everybody's loving it in the chat. So
I have no idea what's going on in the chat here actually. Yes.
Oh, 159 people here. That's a lot of people for usual. It's usually, a little over 100 or something. So extra people here. People are loving it. So I say carry on. You have time and, so we're good.
Okay. You know what's important about this whole matrix thing? Now, this is important. It's important to wake up and to realize these things during our life, our incarnation. Mm-hmm. Because Baru is teaching us that that matrix actually expands to afterlife. This means that when you die, you go into afterlife with all these limiting false ideas. So, for example, this is where karma comes in. There are races who believe in karma. For example, Andromedans are very big on karma. By the way, the topic of karma was planted in the East by Andromedans. That's what she said. But Svaru, she's such a rebel. And she's only 17 years old. By the way, she's amazing. She is a rebel, and she does not believe in the karma. She does not in this way. She believes that it's our beliefs, it's our ideas that keep us trapped in a certain wheel of reincarnation or karma. So after we die, and we believe, for example, that we have to repay something, or that we have to, pay off karmas and repair things. This is what makes us come back, okay? Ourselves. There's no law outside of ourselves. There's nothing in the universe, just you. Just you exist. You impose all these rules upon your own consciousness.
We're creating that reality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you are trapped within your own mental, regulations.
Yeah.
So after you die, this is how the reptilians and all these, they use this to keep us come back, to keep us coming back to Earth, incarnation after incarnation, keeping us here so we can't escape. So it's very important to realize and to try to become free and raise our frequency before we die, because the matrix and all these false ideas continue, because you continue with the false ideas and false remorse, feeling guilty, sins and all that. We have to let go of all that. So I have a video about karma, by the way, but it's not in English translation. It's not translated yet, but it will be soon.
But one of the things that, because I was raised in the Christian religion or whatever, and one of the things that I was sort of blown away by when I moved away from religion is that, Jesus really talks about all these things you're talking about. Even though the religion doesn't, Jesus talks about, you're forgiven, to let go of that stuff and all that. It's been turned into something different, I believe, with organized religion. But, he really did show us the way to escape all of this stuff. And I think he's a good archetype, as well as many other people. It's just like it's always gets this distortion, whether it's around Buddhism or or Christianity or Islam or any of it. It's just all been, they
Yes.
built around truths, but they add all this stuff to it and distort it to keep us confused and to keep us reincarnating. Because we
Yeah.
die, we think we have the sin and things that we need to take care of, or karma, like you're saying, and then it just keeps us coming back around again in the lower vibration. But we can ascend all of that, just like Jesus
Mhm.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great because Varu said, it's not that you don't reincarnate. It's not that you disappear or you like, but you continue and you do reincarnate. But Varu once told me, but at least reincarnate on another planet. Get out of that prison. But because they keep you in that cycle of the earth, everything else is in 5D. Get out of there. Get out of there. Come back home. She's saying this is your home, not there. Um, so yes, you can reincarnate. You can go back to the source. You can do anything you want. You are source. You decide what you want to do with yourself. So now let's go into the unreal people. Yes, very fast. So just like there are in certain objects and sometimes even events, there are unreal empty people without soul, which was kind of shattering idea for me too, because I always believed and I wanted to believe that we all carry this divine essence, we are all the same, and well, apparently only certain the certain number of population is real, and the rest is like what they also say organic portals. Varu is not the only one who talks about this. Actually, Dolores Cannon talked about that. She talked about extras, background people who are just there to, for whatever reason, to maintain status quo, to confront us, the real people, with the false matrix scripted ideas, so we don't have power to fight back or, to confuse us. Also, as a background to our life, as a virtual reality background, extras to our movie. Um, there's so much in this. I don't know if I can go into all this now, but it's very. Okay, I'm not going to go into all this. But what is important about non-real people is that even though some of them are not real, what is real is your experience and your interaction with them. So it's not really important to go around trying to analyze who is real, who is not, because it doesn't mean, even though someone is not real, your experience with that person doesn't change, because everything is you, everything is your experience. So your experience and your interaction is what is relevant, and in that moment, okay? And also, it's not really possible to know without having the 5D component of our mind to see who is not real, who is not. So we need to treat everyone with the same respect. As Baru stressed this point very much. It's very important to treat everyone with the same respect, because we don't know. Sometimes it could be a real person who have come here for to be asleep. So it's part of his experience, or her, to be asleep and not to be interested in these topics. Nothing wrong with that.
Another thing that Swaderu said that I had mentioned a while back that I kind of intuited is that just because someone's not real today doesn't mean that someone isn't going to walk in tomorrow, or that somebody that was real yesterday might not walk out and just let the matrix take over their space suit, meat suit, whatever you want to call it, and they're not going to be real today. Because I've had people like that we were really close, and now they don't even seem like the same person anymore, and it's almost like they got taken away and their body got put on autopilot. And so you can't even judge someone like that, because it could change at any moment. And I got that, and when I heard Swaru talking about that, it gave me chills, because I'm like, that's how I felt it was. That's why you have to be really careful about how you treat people, because they might be asleep today and wake up tomorrow. Maybe they were asleep and really a real person, or maybe someone walked in and took over, that because you said that they're like portals, sort of like biological portals that people can step into at any time. So so we're kind of stuck at this point where it's good to know, just to understand how it works, but we also want to treat everybody the same with respect and love everybody, and view it as a test. If someone sort of gets under your skin or something, to let it go and to rise above the reaction, because they're here to keep us in line with the matrix. You know, don't branch off and look into that. You know, just stay in line and follow the script. You know, so it's like a game. You know.
Yes, and actually, it was on my list again, and I didn't go into it. It was one of the points that I said, "Oh, okay, I'm going to skip that because it was kind of complicated to explain," and you just summed it up. But yes, exactly, they are portals. They can gain a soul later on in their life, and this is they can become a walk-in soul, no? And I asked Svaru, how can that be? And she says, the frequency of the portal will determine what soul will be compatible to enter. And now I said, well, what do you mean frequency of the portal? I thought they were not real, so they don't have real frequency. But she says their frequency is determined by the role we, the real people, give them. So if there is someone unreal around us, it's the role that we generate toward that person. This is what gives them the frequency, and this will determine what kind of a soul will enter. And then I asked her, but how can it be? You said that they are not really biological. They are, but they are not really. They are just like empty holograms. So how can they suddenly become biological when the soul comes in? And she says, this points to how powerful we are. We, the real people, will animate them to be full biological beings. This is how powerful our minds are. We actually will make them biological with our interpretation, with the role that we give them. It's very quantic. It mixes a lot of philosophies here, metaphysical concepts, technological concepts. But yes, we are very, very, very powerful.
That was one of the videos I think I watched 4 times just because it's so deep.
Yeah.
And I think the black goo one I tried to watch like 4 times, and I still haven't quite wrapped my head around that one. We don't need to go into the black goo; it's just too complicated.
No, that's another Pandora box. Yes, it's all about black goo, positive and there is a positive and negative black goo, artificial intelligence, and how it actually uses black goo to control everything. But yeah, let's not go into that because it's too much.
Oh yeah, that's a rabbit hole in and of itself. So just for people to know that you do cover that, and it is a cool topic, and I still haven't wrapped my head around it. And if you can listen to that and still think that Gosia just made all of this up, or that someone's just emailing stuff to her that isn't in the know, then or not emailing but chatting stuff with you, then that's just, it's too deep. You know what I mean?
Yes,
it's too much information for somebody to just make up, and it makes so much sense too. You know.
And I must tell you, I didn't mention that actually. No, it's chats. It's not emails, it's chats. And it's actually since April, we have been talking to her on a more regular basis. And it's been hours and hours, sometimes daily, both Robert and me. And Robert talked also to others, others there, and me too, but in a more limited way. So it's someone who has been spending so much time with us, giving all this information for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, yeah. And not just chatting, but sending us these very deep articles. This is real, okay? It's real.
I also wanted, while we're on the topic, I wanted to have you explain, because I at least one of the people I talked to found it really interesting that you talked to this, I think you said she was like 17-year-old Swadaru, but you also talked to you communicated with 2 other people. One of them had been involved with President Eisenhower, and then the other one had been involved with Billy Meyer, right? The contactee from like the 70s or 80s.
Yes,
so
yes.
I just wanted to just briefly mention that, because I think that'd get a lot of people excited that really resonated with the Billy Meyer stuff way back in the day, or heard about the Eisenhower thing, because that person I think is like 100 and something years old, right?
Right? Must be. I don't know. Yeah, I was surprised to find out that he's still around. Yeah, but apparently he is. Well, I didn't want to go into that, but yes, we can briefly mention that. I didn't want to go into that honestly because I wasn't sure, with this introductory talk, if people would be ready to accept it, because it's so out there. Actually, there's so much to believe it at one go. But yes, this is the same team that first contacted Billy Meyer. Okay, Asket was the one who contacted Billy Meyer. And she has talked to us. She talked to Robert more. I spoke to her briefly also, It's the same team. You know, they have been there. They have been around. They haven't gone anywhere. Billy Meyer has met her physically. Actually, she has come down on her ship.
And how old is she?
That's a question for Robert.
Oh, okay.
Creo recordar, no estoy seguro, 128 o 131.
Okay, more than 100, about 125 or something like that.
Okay,
By the way, they live up to 900 years.
Okay, that's the one I said was over 100. I knew she was really
Yeah.
old, but not. She doesn't
But
look
not
like
old,
she's
yeah.
right. Okay, so she's been
Yeah.
around a while dealing with Earth since like the 50s or whatever. I just wanted to mention that so when people go and check out the information, they'll know what's in store. We don't have to dive in deep
Yes.
to all of that information because that was
Too
another
much.
rabbit hole. But I just wanted them to know that you
Okay.
deal with more than Swaru. There was a
Yeah.
few others that you've been in communication with, and I do want to let you know that it's totally cool to pass my contact information along to any of these star people.
Okay.
Contact me anytime. I'm totally cool with it.
By the way, I'm sure they are watching because I don't know if people know, but the Pleiadians, and not just Pleiadians, many races, they are following YouTube because this is where the information is shared with the humanity. This is where it's all happening. So they are actually following YouTube. They are following the internet. They are closer to us than we imagine. And
Awesome.
so I'm sure they are watching actually this interview. If you want to say a quick hello to our family.
Hello, Star Family. Contact me anytime. We love you.
You never know. You never know. So yes, just going back very briefly to what you said. Yes, it's the same one who contacted Billy Meyer, and then another one, Rachel. This is the one that has come down and talked to the President Eisenhower, and we actually, I'm sorry, asked. She's 108 years old. Okay, Rachel 138, but they look like young girls, all in their 20s, yeah, early 20s, mostly blonde.
Because they live
But
like 100, or they live like 1,000 years, like we used
yeah,
to live.
around
Right?
1,000, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So the other one, Rachel, is the one who talked to Eisenhower, and we have her story. She actually told us what happened during that meeting. Robert already published it in his channel. I haven't yet, but she explained to us step by step what happened. This is explosive because she said to us it's the first time since that time that we are sharing what has happened during that encounter. But as I said, I didn't want to share that because maybe that's too much to believe in, like right away. First, the information is what's important. If you feel it's good for you and serves you, and then the rest is like just maybe for curiosity. Something else you mentioned. I don't remember. Okay. Yes. If you let me, I will just say some final points that are very important. The matrix, what they said, is coming down very fast. It's old. It's failing. It has many glitches. It's coming down very fast. Everything is ascending. The whole galaxy quadrant is ascending, but there must be steps to follow. Okay. So it won't happen overnight, but it's happening. It's coming down. What's very important, Svaru always mentions this: get out of the victim mode. We are not victims. We are not inferior. We are not powerless. We are super powerful. And I know we've been hearing this over and over, but something we just have to listen to over and over and really, embody it. It's not just on a mental level. Yeah, well, powerful. Not some really. How do I say that in English? Personify. Be immersed in that reality of us as creators. Get out of the limiting beliefs. Deprogram from everything. Raise your frequency. I have the video about how to raise the frequency step by step. Different ideas. Everything from Svaru, by the way, not my ideas. It's very important, especially if you feel you are a starseed. In a way, we all are starseeds. That's not a topic because we are all from somewhere. But I'm talking about this new wave of starseeds in this recent program to deprogram the matrix. Maintain the frequency. Maintain the frequency. Maintain the frequency. That's why you are here. It's not even so important to do anything specific. The priority of tasks for them is different how we imagine. We imagine that, to be important, do something important, we have to do this and this and that. For them, it's sometimes the opposite. A simple gardener can be doing a lot more than whoever we think is important. Just maintain the frequency, control your thoughts. Very important to always be in control of what you emanate, what you emit, what you perceive. Control your perception. You must be 5D now. This is the time to be 5D. Enter in your 5D self. We are already there, but it's just a matter of observing that part of ourselves, moving and flowing into that perception of ourselves as 5D. Everything is what we want to perceive is what counts. And the only thing that limits the human beings, as you said, Shane, is the idea that we are limited. Svara repeats this all the time. We are not limited in any way. So anything else you would like to mention?
Well, no, I think you summed it up really nicely. And the main thing was to just really get you on here and we cover these things because I believe the whole, our little group here that gets together here are all star seeds. We know we're here for a reason to raise the planet's vibration. And I think the information that you present on your channel is just so wonderful and it gets me excited and fired up. And I see it in the other comments under the video where people are like, when's the next one coming out? And I know how much time it takes to do this stuff. So
Yeah.
I understand that you can't pop one out every day because it takes too much time or whatever. But I can see the excitement with other people just waiting for the next one, just longing for the next one. And, like I said, it's gotten so bad for me. I've just gone back and rewatched some of it
Really?
because it's so much information there. So thank you so much for taking the time to come on here and share this information. I'm so glad I was able to introduce you
Yeah.
to my
Well,
audience.
I have to say one more thing. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, I cannot do the videos very often because I'm also running the Spanish channel. So it's like I have a video to do in Spanish and then in English, Spanish, English. I just want to say that I still have the videos to make about karma, about suffering, what it means, to suffer. I have videos about the Tibetan society. What are they like? How do they live? 5D self. I think I did that. Raise the frequency. I think I did that. Also, we have on our channel the videos about the artificial intelligence, about the biology, actually how biology and biological self gets manifested from higher level. Svaru goes into that in detail. Cloning and soul manipulation is explained. It's a danger, very important danger right now. Cloning and artificial intelligence. Vaccination, but vaccination will be actually translated from Robert channel. But it goes into free energy. This was a good article too, especially for those of you who have more scientific mind who can understand this. I didn't understand everything, but she explains mechanics of manifestation, free energy. Actually, it was kind of dangerous what she did because almost she got the attention of the Tibetan Council. The Tibetan Council was on top of her with that article because she was very close to revealing how the free energy works. With that article, you have some big clues on how free energy works. She explains flat Earth. The Earth is not flat; it's a toroid. She explains all the mechanics of all that. And the next video that I want to share with you, this is what I want to just say quickly. I will share the video about the stellar navigation, how actually they navigate through time and space. She will go into the warp, supraluminar engines and supraluminar ships and how they work, how they actually manage to navigate through space using frequency maps. It's not about speed of light. It's not about speed. It's not about distance. It's about frequencies. They travel through frequencies, and she explains how they travel through time, also using frequencies. So this is going to be the next article. It's one of my favorites. If you are interested in all this sci-fi, but not really sci-fi stuff.
I'm definitely interested. And I did want to bring up before we go that how we had that connection that, where we had a familiarity with one another. Because I get this with a lot of people that I meet and, I'm meeting them for the first time, but yet there's something similar. It's like maybe we came from the same star family or something like that, and we have this feeling like we knew each other before maybe. And I get this a lot, and I think that's really cool because I think a lot of the viewers also get that we've been in contact with one another before, but we just don't remember it. So you were another one of those people. Debbie, Solaris, so many people that I've met are like that. But I think that was cool, and I think it allowed you to feel comfortable enough to come on here, and because you don't really do live shows, but that deep knowing that it would be okay, and that I'm really like on the same team and stuff. I don't know. I think it's really cool the way to see how everything plays out. And I was kind of told, it was like, don't worry, the people that need to know you're cool will know you're cool, and they'll come on and feel comfortable. And I'm so glad you took the time to do this because the information is so exciting. I can't get enough of it. I really can't, because it confirms so much of what these ideas I get in my head, and I think things work that way, and then I hear you talking about it, and then it lets me know I was downloaded the information.
Yes.
So yeah, it's awesome stuff.
What you said is so important because some people ask me, how do you know this is real? And one of the reasons why I know this is real, like you said, because I feel this information. This information is mine. It's not like I'm hearing something and it's like, oh, what is this? This is new. No, it's like it activates memory. It activates something within you, and that's how I know it's real, because it's my information. It's coming from within. It's not just coming from her. So it's one of the reasons why I always respond to people how I know this is real. And thank you, Shane. Yes, this is true. I never wanted to come on to do any live shows and anything. I actually turned down a few people in the Spanish world and the English world. Oh no, it is true. When you sent me that message and I saw your face and I saw your program, like, okay, let me check this out. And I don't know, there was something about you. You're right, like very familiar and very comfortable, like very welcoming and warm. And I'm sure many people can confirm that you have this presence. So it's something about you that is just very, very welcoming. And it was familiar to me. Like, yeah, I had to do this with you, and you had to be the first one. And then, yeah. So
that's very awesome. I'm glad you did, and I'd love to have you back sometime. Just so people know that right now you're not in communication as of November 7th,
very important. Yes, we have been in communication since April very regularly, almost every day sometimes. Mm-hmm. But what happened on November 7th, we had a date, and she just never came on, disappeared. 2 months, we don't have any communication. This happens. They are ETs. They are doing a lot of things. They are not just for us, to do our YouTube videos. They have been doing a lot of important operations. A lot of things are happening. The end of the year was actually very important. A lot of things were happening. So I don't know anything beyond that point. But as soon as I know, as soon as they get back in touch, which I'm sure they will, I will explain what has happened if they reveal what has happened. Awesome. So thank you, Shane, so much. And thank you, everybody, for listening. Gracias por todos que son del mundo español escuchándolos. Thank you for the ones who are here from the Spanish world. And just please, yes, be free, okay? Be free and believe in your own power and your own consciousness. Very, very important to reprogram the matrix. Let's destroy the matrix.
Amen to that. And I want to say lots of love and light to everybody in the chat, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much, Gosia.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Shane. Thank you.
Yes, and Swaru, thank you. And our galactic family, the Federation, yes. All of those, we thank you guys for getting this information to us.
All the benevolent races and yes. All at Swaru. Thank you so much. Okay, bye.
If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.